Hey, what's up? What's going on? Welcome to English with Dane, a podcast designed to improve your English. As always, I'm your host, Dane, and you can find me on Instagram at English with Dane. If you want a full transcript of this and all future episodes, send me a message, and if you don't use Instagram, send me an email at englishwithdane@gmail.com. Today's episode is all about strange news, which means I've compiled 3 different weird, strange, or odd news stories from around the world for us to talk about. We'll go through them first to see what happened, and then we'll do a vocabulary check to make sure, para asegurarnos, you understood as much as possible, and to add new words to your arsenal. So let's go. You are listening to the 46th episode of Season 2 of English with Dane. Hit it. Okay, we have officially started the show, so let's read today's first headline. This one took place in Germany, and the headline reads, Fox steals over 100 shoes in Berlin. Residents in one Berlin neighborhood were bemused, confundidos o sorprendidos, when their shoes began vanishing. The prolific shoe thief turned out to be, resultó ser, a fashion-conscious fox with a passion for footwear. Let's read that again. Sometimes these news stories have really tricky language because they often use very specific words and uncommon constructions. So again, residents in one Berlin neighborhood were bemused when their shoes began vanishing. Empezaron a desaparecer. The prolific shoe thief, el ladrón, turned out to be a fashion-conscious fox with a passion for footwear. A fox has stolen around 100 shoes from people's homes in Berlin's southwestern Zehlendorf neighborhood, according to local media reports. All types of footwear had started disappearing from outside homes in the district, including slippers and sandals as well as sneakers, before the unlikely thief was unmasked by local resident Christian Meyer. Meyer initially noticed his running shoes had disappeared and posted an inquiry on Germany's community notice board sharing platform Nebenan.de, reported Berlin newspaper Tagesspiegel. After posting, it became apparent that his were not the only shoes to have vanished in the area. Then there's a picture of a fox carrying a shoe in its mouth, walking down a Berlin street. The text continues and says, "Mystery solved." Meyer later spotted a fox on a patch of wasteland in the district and managed to snap a picture of the creature caught red-handed with a pair of blue flip-flops in his mouth. Meyer also uncovered the fox's haul of multicolored footwear. Sadly, Meyer has yet to find his lost running shoes, but 3 other pairs have been successfully reclaimed by their owners. Okay, I know there were some words that you had a hard time with there, and some interesting constructions that maybe are a bit confusing, but we'll talk about them at the end during our vocabulary check. For now, let's move on to the next story. The headline reads, Vermont farmer returns prosthetic leg that skydiver lost during jump. This is from West Addison in Vermont, the state of Vermont in the United States. A Vermont skydiver who lost his prosthetic leg during a jump has it back, la tiene de vuelta, thanks to a farmer who kept an eye out for it and spotted it in a soybean field. Double amputee Chris Makers of Hyde Park went for a jump Saturday at Vermont Skydiving Adventures in West Addison and lost one of his prosthetic legs after leaping or jumping from the plane. I think my adrenaline was so high and I was just so excited, I didn't realize I had lost it, Makers told NECN and NBC 10 Boston. Makers, who was harnessed to an instructor, landed safely. He then put out the word on social media that he'd lost his leg. Farmer Joe Marzalkowski saw the post before finding the prosthetic on Sunday in a soybean field. Beyond a few scratches, it was undamaged, no estaba dañada. You've always got to keep an eye out, said Marzalkowski, who compared the discovery to a needle in a haystack. He said he was grateful he found the leg without running it over with a machine during the fall harvest. Maker said losing his leg turned into a positive experience. I had to include that story because I loved the headline so much. Again, a few words you might not know, but you will in a bit. Let's go with the last story first. The last headline reads, Houdini kitten rescued from 3 vehicles in one day in Norfolk. Rescuers had to partially dismantle 3 vehicles to save the cat, with the whole operation lasting several hours. The RSPCA was called to a car park when a member of the public heard a cat crying from a Volkswagen Golf. With the permission of the car's owner, firefighters lifted it up to try and free the cat. It was taken to a garage, or a garage, where some of the wheels and bodywork were taken off to reach the cat underneath the engine. But before it could be captured, the cat escaped and ran under a BMW and did the same. The BMW's owner was traced and the car was partially taken apart, but the cat then dashed under the RSPCA van. The van required less dismantling since it was higher from the ground, and a firefighter consiguió, to catch the cat in his arms before she could escape again. RSPCA Animal Collection Officer Natalie Reed, who has since adopted the cat, said, "This kitten was proving a little Houdini, but there's no way we could leave her in any of the vehicles or alone in the middle of a busy town center, so we had to just try again." So the story has a happy ending. The cat was saved and adopted. Okay, we've gone through these 3 stories, which means it's time for our vocabulary check. Get a pen and paper and get ready to practice some new words. We're starting easy. The first word is footwear. I know you probably figured it out from the context, but it's a word that confuses students whenever it comes up, cuando surge, because they're not used to it. Footwear, spelled F-O-O-T-W-E-A-R, is just a word we use that encompasses, que engloba, everything you can wear on your foot. In this case, they mention slippers, sandals, and sneakers. Slippers are what you wear around your house, by the way. Let's do 2 at the same time now because they're in the same sentence. The first one is a word and the second one is an expression. I'll read the sentence again before I tell you, and let's see if you can guess. Meyer later spotted the fox on a patch of wasteland in the district and managed to snap a picture of the creature caught red-handed with a pair of blue flip-flops in its mouth. First, we have the verb to spot, spelled S-P-O-T. You've probably heard this one. It means to see, notice, or recognize. He spotted the fox. It's a regular verb, okay? Spot, spotted, spotted. Then we had the expression to catch somebody red-handed. To catch someone con las manos en la masa, so committing the crime in that moment. This is also a good example of a compound adjective, un adjetivo compuesto, or a compound modifier. When 2 or more words are joined together, se unen, to modify the same word. In this case, red-handed. Some more examples of compound adjectives are a 10-page document, a 2-hour drive, a 20-year-old, etc. As you can see, we don't use the plural form of the noun when we combine them. We don't say a 10 pages document. No, a 10-page document. Drop the S. For the next one, we head to our second story about a man who lost his prosthetic leg. The phrase I wanted to talk about is to put out the word, or to put the word out. I've always heard the second one more, but in this article, we have to put out the word. Let's read the sentence again. He then put out the word on social media that he'd lost his leg. This means to let people know, to tell people about something. You will also hear this one with the verb get to get the word out. Hacer saber in Spanish, or correr la voz, etc. Next, we have a needle in a haystack. You know this expression in Spanish, or in your native language for sure, but maybe you didn't know what it was in English. Una aguja en un pajar, a needle in a haystack. Hay is paja, so haystack is pajar. So something very difficult or impossible to locate because it is really hidden, escondido, among so many other things. The sentence was, "You've always got to keep an eye out," said Marzalkowski, who compared the discovery to a needle in a haystack. We also have to keep an eye out in this sentence. So many interesting phrases in today's strange news stories, guys. This one means to pay attention. Estar atento in Spanish. Easy one. Okay, one more because this episode is getting a bit long. The last one is a phrasal verb, to lift up. The sentence was, with permission of the car's owner, el dueño, firefighters lifted it up to try and free the cat. So to lift up means levantar, in this case, a car. This is a phrasal verb you can separate. So you can say, lift up the car, or lift the car up. And remember, when we split or separate these phrasal verbs and we use a pronoun, we have to put it in the middle. Lift it up. Never lift up it. All right, that's the show for today. It got a bit long, I know, but hopefully you stuck with it and you got to the end. Some really good vocabulary in today's episode, so write it down, apúntalo. Practice it, and before you know it, you'll be surprising yourself. Some of you have written to me telling me about how you're using the new vocabulary, and I can't even tell you how happy that makes me. Good job. Keep going. All right. Remember to support English with Dane by following the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, or wherever you listen, and make sure to share it with friends, family, or anyone who you think would enjoy it. All right. Talk soon. Later.